So Eddie Alvarez was doing an interview and he was talking about Gaethje versus Khabib. And Eddie said that it's going to be a very hard night for Gaethje. Then it turns out Eddie Alvarez is one hell of a fight analyst because he gave the most incredible breakdown. I suggest that you guys go and find this. And I suggest Eddie keep doing these kinds of things. I mean, I was blown away how good Eddie was at this, but I want to ask you a question. Does anybody think that Justin Gaethje can win? Because the answer appears to be no. But I would wonder why. If I was to give you a prediction, I am also picking Khabib, but I am not dismissing Justin Gaethje. Because if Khabib is going to beat him, the follow-up question is, well, how is he going to do it? And there has to be an answer to that. Now, if you believe that Khabib's going to go do what he's done to everybody, which is take him down, hold him there, and beat him up. Okay, great. I guess we have nothing to talk about. And you would be well within your lanes to give that as an opinion because we've seen it happen so many times. But Gaethje is another level of wrestler. Gaethje also understands that he can't let his back hit the fence. And as simple as that might sound, all of the greats over a period of time get caught up to. And it's not because somebody passes up their skills. It's because so much footage and tape gets put out there that studying them starts to become easier and easier. It's just one of those things. When you're the champion, everybody, no matter if they've got a fight coming up or not, everybody is thinking about you every single day. You're not thinking about all the contenders. You're just thinking about who's going to emerge as the number one contender, and then you spend 3-4 months focused on that one guy. So it's just a different deal. When you're the champion, you can have matches that are harder and closer than your skills will represent. Very real thing. Now, if you are of the school of thought that Gaethje has no chance with Khabib, I would ask how you came to the conclusion prior to Khabib versus Tony that if it stays on their feet, Tony's going to beat him up. And not only will I ask how you came to that conclusion, I will remind you that you did come to that conclusion. The story going to that fight was never Tony's going to take Khabib down and beat him up from the guard, ground and pound him. It was going to be Tony's a good enough wrestler. He scrambles well enough. He's tricky enough on the ground to get back up to his feet, and if he's on his feet with Khabib, Tony's going to win. That was the narrative. We then saw 25 minutes of Gaethje versus Ferguson all on the feet, and Gaethje dominated. So we come to the conclusion that Gaethje is better on his feet than Tony was. So I have to come back to how do we decide that Gaethje has no chance with Khabib? It's one of these very weird things. And it also doesn't mean that if they end up on their feet, that Khabib is going to be a fish out of water. I realize that is a dialogue around him a lot. But he struggled greatly to take Conor McGregor down. Even the times where he did get on top, it was a lot of effort. And in one of those rounds, he was failing, so he stood up on his feet, traded, and put Conor McGregor down, something that Floyd Mayweather couldn't do in 30 minutes of fighting. So we know that Khabib has skills. You might call that a lucky punch. Okay, fine, but we don't have very much to draw from. Khabib has not been on his feet long enough or enough to draw from great frames of reference, but we do have 5 minutes. We had 5 minutes on his feet versus Al Iaquinta. And Khabib was taking some flack that he looked like an amateur. I don't know what that means. If there's amateurs that throw mainly jabs, land them, and don't get hit back because they got head movement and they can slip, okay, great, then I guess he looked like an amateur. I'm just sharing with you the couple of times that Khabib has been on his feet, he's done just fine. The big advantage that Khabib is going to have in this fight is the threat of the takedown. People have begged Justin Gaethje for the last 4 years to take guys down. His own coaches ask him. His own teammates ask him. Everybody wonders, why do you not take guys down? Justin said, well, that's just more effort and energy, and I feel better on my feet, and I feel like standing on my feet is easier. Okay, fine, but now he's going to miss out on one opportunity, which is the threat of the takedown. Had Justin slipped in a few takedowns in each fight over the last 4 years, that's going to be in Khabib's mind somewhere. Now it's not. Now, Justin could change that. He could come out and blast him right off the bat. Let Khabib know Sambo and wrestling aren't the same thing. I am a wrestler. Justin might even get on top of Khabib, and that would change the dynamic and complexity of this fight instantly. But if Justin gets pushed around, his back goes against the fence, he's probably going to get drugged down. And guys that get drugged down generally don't give it up. I mean, I do understand, even as I go through the analysis myself, I also come to Khabib. I'm not resisting that. I'm challenging you on how did you think that Tony could beat Khabib if they stayed on their feet? Realize that Gaethje's a lot better on his feet than Tony was, but Gaethje can't beat Khabib on their feet. That is my question.